Hey guys, there's a show I highly recommend. You can find it both in the History channel or right here on YouTube, right down on the link on the description. It's called The Man Who Built America. I'll be helping you out with some vocabulary. Let's get started. Cornelius Vanderbilt may be the richest and most powerful man in the country, accustomed to getting what he wants. Here's a summary about his life. He was born in Port Richmond, 1794. He grew up in New York, but he has no idea what he's about to encounter just to practice with pronunciation. He's about to meet Rockefeller unexpectedly. That's why I have this image. I'm trying to differentiate between meet and encounter. Play cards, Mr. Rockefeller? No, it's a shame. You could learn a lot about competition. I guess people used to play cards before smartphones. Just like us nowadays, it was their addiction. I know all I need to know. So he came to this meeting with a different approach. He could have died on a train accident, so he feels confident. Sort of like a new opportunity for him, new outlook. So I'm willing to do an exclusive deal, and that could be you. Here are some tips. Like I said, he had the right approach. He knew what he wanted to get out of the deal. I'm willing to do an exclusive deal. $65, 65 cents a barrel. $1.65. Here's the dictionary definition for willing. Not to be confused with the auxiliary will. Think of it as having an actual meaning. Will. Cleveland. A lot of people are surprised that uh, Cleveland used to be on top of an oil field. And the fact that you have Lake Erie and right below that you have the Mississippi River, that made it easier to transport oil. Once again, pronunciation, because I'll fill all your cars with my oil. If you don't do the deal, I fill someone else's cars. Do you trust them? You trust them? Short way of saying, do you trust them? Rockefeller may have got the rate he was looking for, but in return, he's agreed to provide Vanderbilt with over 60 train cars of oil every day. The only problem is Rockefeller has no way to produce that much kerosene. His capacity is less than half that. So it takes quite a while. First, you gotta heat up the crude oil in order to refine it. So it's not as easy. Rockefeller has overpromised, but he knows that the deal with Vanderbilt will be the opportunity he's been looking for. Overpromise goes together. This is the right way to write it, not the previous. Don't pay attention to the previous slide. He just needs to find a way to produce more kerosene. Products made from a barrel of crude oil, diesel, jet fuel, kerosene. It's kind of like alcohol, different degrees of alcohol. It's a daunting task, difficult task. The odds, you know, the odds are not in his favor because he was born poor. So, how do you beat the odds? How do you beat the numbers? When the numbers are stacked against you, think of odds as the probabilities. Here's a good example: 9 to 2, 20 to 1. Rockefeller was raised in a poor Cleveland household, but even as a young man, he yearns for something more. Household, right from the dictionary, raised, elevated, the way he was brought up. Brought up is a synonym. Bring up, brought up. Yearn, to wish, to desire. Another example of someone else who was raised poor. but ended up being successful. He yearns for something bigger, and he knows he's gonna have to work hard. It's not gonna be handed to him. Hand, that is a verb. Not your hand, but to hand out. Nothing is gonna be handed to you. You have to make things happen. You have to take it. As a young man, he shows a strong entrepreneurial streak, starting his own small business, selling candy to local children. Think of streak as something that is continuous. Could be a winning streak. From an early age, Rockefeller helps to support his family. From an early age, Rockefeller helps to support his family, mostly because he was never able to rely on his father. To rely, he was never able to trust him. If you look at the video, you'll see the reason why. Poor people cannot rely on the government to help. The reason why Vanderbilt decided to control its own fleet, not the government. And this is the most important part of the video. Here's the dictation. That was the most important part of the video right there, is the dictation. I hope that you enjoyed today's video.
I think entrepreneurs and certain business people just look at life and look at things that are changing and are able to see those things and say, I can create a business out of that.
Rockefeller realizes oil has the potential to change the world and make him rich in the process. But Rockefeller knows that drilling for oil is a gamble, filled with uncertainty. And since he doesn't believe in luck, he starts looking for a way to make money from oil without the risk.
He had a mind for efficiency. And there was probably something in him that looked at the production process and saw how wasteful that was. In the first place, you drill wells and they turn up dry. And then you drill wells and they hit a gusher and half the oil would be lost. And that offended his sense of efficiency.
Rockefeller knows there's a better way.
Today, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. They've heard these great stories, about Apple. But you know what? When you start a company, you can think what the revenues are going to be, how much it's going to be worth to shareholders. But you always need a technical element. You need somebody who knows how to do it and build the things. You need the scientists.
Refining oil turns crude from the ground into kerosene, a clean-burning fuel that can be used in lamps.
Once the oil gets to 350 degrees, the kerosene starts to vaporize. Then once it's cooled, you have a stable, pure product. How much to produce a gallon? 50, 60 cents, I don't know.
Rockefeller's insight puts him one step ahead of his competitors. He believes that while gamblers drill for oil, businessmen refine it.
Whoever could control the refining process could very well have the whole industry.
At 24 years old, Rockefeller invests everything he has, about $4,000, into building his first refinery.
Go higher! Higher!
But he struggles early on to find an edge in the industry. That changes when the most powerful man in the country comes calling.
Mr. Rockefeller?
The deal with Vanderbilt gives him cheap shipping rates and the chance to corner the U.S. oil market. But he's overpromised, agreeing to supply 60 barrels a day when his capacity is less than half that. And when you've made a deal with the most powerful man in America, failure is not an option.
You have to be smart, you have to have vision, you have to have all of these different things. But the most successful people are the people that had the right idea but never, ever quit or gave up.
Have a wonderful day. I'm having a wonderful day out here. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you.